Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 11th edition of Best Says, a podcast I have done weekly for yada yada yada. I've said this intro 11 times now. I keep adding up the month, and that changes like once every 4 weeks. I've brought in a new guest, of course. Please introduce yourself.
Hello.
Tell us what you do.
So, I am a content creator on Twitch.tv. I primarily do gaming streams, but every once in a while I do a few other things.
What would you say your favorite game is?
Oh, I hate this question. Okay, there's so many games that I like playing, right?
Yeah.
And my favorite game honestly switches all the time. I grew up playing the Pokémon franchise, like 100%. That's pretty much all you would see me playing. But recently I've gone to games such as Skyrim, Zelda. I've been playing a lot of Subnautica, Uncharted. A lot of the big releases that have been coming out recently, God of War, Red Dead Redemption, and all that.
Honestly, when the question is always asked to people, whether it's on this podcast or anywhere else, I always prefer an answer like yours, because for me it's like, it just kind of depends on the day and what's going on. Like, sometimes I may say like a Fallout or a Skyrim, and other times maybe I'm in the middle of playing Assassin's Creed and I'm really enjoying that right now.
Yeah, I've been in a huge Zelda kick recently.
Yeah, I feel like the answer always can change, just depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
And you've been on a Zelda kick lately. See, for me, like, I really want to get into Zelda and the Mario games and all that, but maybe I will now that Nintendo's starting to be more friendly with people. Especially content creators, like, that's always been one of the big withdrawals for me, is why would I want to support someone that doesn't really support what I want to do?
Yeah. Honestly, the best thing that has been helping me with it, since I didn't grow up playing them, is there's a Zelda timeline, and I've just been playing the games in the order of that timeline.
Yeah, I really enjoy, like, when I watch movies or I want to do something like that, chronologically, not so much when it released, but the chronological order in which the events happened in the game or movie or TV show or whatever. That's the experience I enjoy the most.
Yeah, and that's been helping me a lot to get, comfortable, learning characters' names, learning lore and all that, since there's a lot of it to learn.
And especially, like, with The Legend of Zelda, like, for me, I couldn't play, like, the first couple, the ones that were... The old ones, not the ones that's, like, Majora's Mask, or Wind Waker, or Breath of the Wild, those games. The old ones, it's kind of like with Fallout 1 and 2, it's just, I really enjoy the Fallout franchise, but as a 20-year-old, I can't bring it to myself to go that far back.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going farther back in the Elder Scrolls franchise, because I've only played Skyrim, and I've looked into playing Oblivion or Morrowind, but going as far back as playing, I think it's Arena and Daggerfell. Someone's gonna hate me for saying that if I didn't get it right. But yeah, I can't go
Arena
back and play
and Daggerfall.
Wow.
Yep, look at me knowing you nailed things. It. I own Oblivion on the Xbox 360, and even that game, like, it's just a little bit too far out for me. I need, like, an HD remaster. Like, if you gave me the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind Special Edition on the PS4 or PS5 or whatever, or PC Master Race, whatever, then I'd be much happier. And you could always say, oh, if you're on PC, you can just kind of do that anyway. You can just get all these mods, but...
Pretty much. There's actually a group of modders that's working on rebuilding Morrowind and Oblivion in Skyrim.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. And I really love, like, Skyrim Special Edition. I have been obsessing over that game again. I haven't been playing Skyrim for, like, a year and a half. but I recently got back into it when I got the special edition, and oh my gosh, I've put in dozens of hours back into it.
I've only played on like maybe 2 characters on it, and I already have 165 hours in special edition.
I used to be a
Ow.
basic bitch, and I only played Nord. Nord is, I guess, always the default person you want to play as, I guess. For at least for me. But since I've done the special edition, I've been branching out. I did the Red Guard for a little bit. The Red Guard was fine, but every time I play Skyrim, I always learn new things and learn different ways I want to go about it. And so yesterday, I started playing as the High Elf, and I'm doing a magic only run. Cause I really enjoy magic in Skyrim. I prefer magic over the one-handed or two-handed.
Yeah.
And what?
Oh, magic has always been like kind of my go-to in Skyrim, or I'll do magic one hand and then weapon in another.
Okay, I don't really know about people's playstyles in Skyrim. I have to not be the only one that's done this. If I'm doing magic, I'll get the raise zombie or the raise undead spell, and I bring everything back that I possibly can, and I just kill it again, because I just want the extra experience.
I've never messed around with conjuration magic too much inside of Skyrim. Whenever I've been doing it, I'm either doing healing magic or destruction.
Yeah.
On my most recent build I was doing, I did start doing conjuration because I was trying to level up my one-handed and my two-handed, and I was just using the bound sword and bound battle axe.
Yeah. For me, like ever since I've been playing Skyrim and I found the raise zombie spell, I've just always done that. I bring stuff back and I kill it again because it's just more experience. And I'd always have like level 25 destruction, but I'd be at like level 55 conjuration because you get a lot of experience bringing stuff back.
Oh yeah. Or just casting muffle all the time.
See, part of me, the RuneScape side of me, the RuneScape player in my being, tells me that you have to grind all these skills, but I'm like, well, once I max it out, I mean, what's the point of doing it anymore? So I pace myself. I do my best to pace myself.
Just wait until you legendary it.
True.
Like, on my last save of Skyrim, I had level 100 pickpocketing and a legendary sneak skill already. So I was literally able to go up to the main captain of the Imperials, strip him, drop his clothes in front of him, and he wouldn't even notice.
I mean, AI in Skyrim can be pretty dumb sometimes. You shoot an arrow in a bandit's friend's like chest, and then you just hide somewhere, and a moment later you're like, must have been the wind.
Oh yeah.
Because the wind clearly shot that arrow.
Absolutely.
I just hate when wind shoots arrows at me.
Yeah, always unfortunate whenever you're just walking and all of a sudden, the wind just makes you take an arrow to the knee.
Absolutely. So the first topic of the episode, this is a small topic, but it's pretty big. After 20 years of chasing Officer Jenny and Nurse Joyce, Pewter City gym leader Brock has finally, as long as we've been alive, he found himself a girlfriend, a fellow rock trainer named Olivia. They seem to have hit it off. This is big news.
Yes.
Throughout my childhood, it was always a situation of Brock couldn't catch what he was looking to catch. He would throw his jabs, he would try to get these women, but they were never interested. And now that he's actually caught someone, man.
Oh yeah. See, I grew up watching the Pokemon anime like my entire life. Like I said, I played the games ever since Crystal, I think. So basically since I was like 4. Um oh, but seeing this is a really big kind of a big mood for me because, there were parts where he almost had it and then just someone or something ruins it for him. But now
Yes.
this time he actually got it.
And so I think the lesson here is if you're young and you own a very fancy restaurant, but you haven't been able to find yourself someone personally, you just gotta keep fishing. Eventually, you're gonna catch someone, and someone isn't gonna cut your line, and there you go. You're finally gonna have it. 20
I
years.
I think the lesson here is that the statistical odds of everyone saying no is impossible. So if you just ask everyone, you'll eventually get a yes.
That was my high school strategy, and I never was told yes.
Did you ask them all?
I asked a lot, especially when I was a desperate junior and senior. My technique did not work.
Well, try it again.
Try it again with whom? Just online, just start messaging people and be like, hey, you want to make this happen?
I don't know how these things work. I sit in a room and play Subnautica or Zelda all day.
Hey, it's a good living. I play Skyrim and I listen to podcasts all day. It's really
Pretty much.
enjoyable. So, Netflix. Well, gotta love Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel that they're raising their prices? Netflix cheapest basic plan, which is now going to cost $9, up from $8. The most popular HD standard plan now costs $13, up from $11. And the 4K premium plan, now $16 from $14. The rate hikes constitute a jump of between 13 and 18%, the company's biggest increase since launching its streaming service 12 years ago, and the extra cash is designed to help pay for Netflix's huge investment in the original shows and films and finance the heavy debt it's taken on to ward off streaming threats such as Amazon, Disney, Apple, is it NCBC or NC whatever, whichever other one is started now. Because welcome to the new era, where we begin to re-enter the cable era and evolution. That's where we're headed. Everyone wants to have their own streaming place, and it's just going to be cable again because you have to buy 15 things to get what you want.
Pretty much. So I'm honestly not entirely against them raising the prices, especially, it makes sense. Netflix original series, from what I've seen, have been good. Some of them, haven't. Everyone drops the ball. But, they're wanting to invest more into that because they're seeing success with it. Go for it, because honestly, you brought cable up into this. It's like I tell my coworkers all the time. The reason I won't get a cable package is because a cable package for me, for basic cable, is $90.
Yep.
So paying, $9 just for the most basic package on Netflix, then I think it's like $8 for Hulu, and then, whatever other services you want thrown into there, it's not
Disney
that
Plus. Will you be
No,
getting
the main
Disney
ones-
Plus?
No. The main ones I use right now is Hulu, Netflix, Prime, and actually Stars.
Stars.
Mhm.
The last show I think that was on Stars that I was interested in was that pirate one.
See, the only reason I have a Stars subscription right now is because of the fact that it has a lot of good movies that I haven't been able to find elsewhere on it.
Very
such
true.
as Saw, I've really been enjoying rewatching the Saw series. And Hulu only has the newest one on it. Or another one, that I'm planning on watching here soon, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Good movie.
So, I think right now it's like $5 because I have a special promo for it right now. But then, I think it's normally like $7, and you get unlimited
Which
movie
isn't too
watching.
bad.
Yeah, so it's basically, for me, it's like renting a Redbox movie, twice a week.
Yeah.
So if I can watch, say, 8 movies in a month, it pays for itself practically.
Basically.
Yeah,
and I feel like when it comes to Netflix and their price increase, I feel like what makes Netflix big in 2019 isn't that they have all these shows from other people. I feel like what makes Netflix big and what gets people talking about Netflix a lot is the Netflix original shows and things they are able to acquire that they just really help build up. I feel like that's one of the biggest things Netflix does.
I mean, absolutely. Because, here's one of my biggest talking points whenever it comes to services like Hulu, right? Hulu gets shows next day, as they air. So, you're watching shows like Supernatural, Grey's Anatomy, The Flash, all of those big shows on TV. You're able to watch them the very next day on Hulu. Netflix, most of the time you have to wait until the new season starts airing before you can even watch it.
That is a very good point. Hulu definitely has that edge over Netflix. It's the availability in a sooner capacity.
The only thing I think Netflix can do at this point that would end up shooting themselves in the foot is if they add commercials onto it. But in terms of increasing prices, just a couple bucks, each one goes up, an average of $1.75 roughly. Doing quick math anyway, but goes up a couple bucks, and then they still get all of their original shows. They're getting new, better original shows, and they're still getting other TV. They're going in the right direction right now, and they can afford
I absolutely agree.
to make these
yes.
Increases.
Yeah, with the price increase, I've seen people give the statistic, oh, well, since they increased the price, you're going to have it was somewhere between 6 and 9% of people will leave Netflix. Okay, well, the extra money they're going to make is more than that 6 or 9% leaving.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's still worth it.
Basically, for every 8 people that sign up, it makes up for 1 person who leaves off of their basic package.
Yep.
Which I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more people signing up for Netflix than there are just leaving Netflix because of a couple bucks price increase.
Yeah, I can understand why people would leave, if you really don't have the money and you really can't afford it. Well, you could afford it, but it's not the best financial decision for you at the time. But I feel like for the majority of people, I feel like the couple bucks is maybe noticeable, but not noticeable enough to cancel.
Here's how I see it. Is, let's say I'm on the $11 package right now, and it increases to the $13 package. That just means I can't go to McDonald's one day of the week for lunch.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
But you know what I mean? That's basically what it translates to.
I agree. Yeah, I can completely see that.
Yeah, you just eat out 1 or 2 less times, and the money is now being made up. Because kind of how I look at entertainment services like this, especially whenever it comes to price increases, when I see this, is the amount of entertainment and usage I'm getting out of this service worth me paying for it? Because $13 an hour, or not $13 an hour, $13, that's roughly, I'm just gonna say an hour and 25 minutes of me working, you know?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that means if I use Netflix for at least an hour and 25 minutes, my subscription has been paid for.
That's a very good way to look at it. And I feel like another good way of thinking about it is like if you watch movies on Netflix, think about if you went to the theater to see a movie and how much that whole experience is going to cost you compared to if you just sit at home and watch a movie on Netflix. That alone makes Netflix worth the purchase.
Oh, yeah. I went and saw Captain America Winter Soldier opening weekend on accident, mind you. I didn't know it was opening weekend. And I spent $20 on, ticket, concession, and everything. But, $20 is more than their premium service with the new pricing. And, I already have most of, what I got at home. I have, bags of popcorn that I can microwave, and I've got cases of Dr. Pepper lying everywhere.
Dr. Pepper is the best soda.
Absolutely.
See, this is where we can agree on. You're someone that sees. You actually know the truth. You get it.
I've been drinking Dr. Pepper this entire time.
I have too. I've been drinking Dr. Pepper since I woke up at 8 p.m.
Respectable time to wake up.
Yeah, the past couple weeks on the podcast, we've gone over why my sleeping schedule is so screwed. I don't feel like we have to talk about it again. But I've not made any changes to my sleep schedule. It's continuing to get worse. So, a YouTube-related topic that I feel was interested in, I think I agree with it. YouTube clips that depict dangerous or emotionally distressing pranks have been banned from the platform. The move comes in response to so-called challenges that have sometimes resulted in death or injury. The Google-owned video sharing site said such material had no place on YouTube. However, the forum appears to be failing to enforce its existing rules on harmful content. YouTube is home to many beloved viral challenges and pranks. A message added to the site's FAQ section that said, "We've had policies to make sure what's funny doesn't cross the line into also being harmful or dangerous. Our community guidelines prohibit content that encourages dangerous activities that are likely to result in serious harm, and today clarifying what this means for dangerous challenges and pranks. From now on," the site said, "it would not allow videos that featured pranks with a perceived danger or serious physical injury. This includes pranks where someone is tricked into thinking they are in severe danger, even if no real threat existed." The site also added, "We also don't allow pranks that cause children to experience severe emotional distress, meaning something so bad that it could leave the child traumatized for life." YouTube said it had worked closely with a child physiologist on what might constitute a traumatic experience. It did not post a full list, but the new rules come in response to several instances of pranks and stunts that are considered ill-advised at best and deadly at worst. I know personally I have heard of, I don't really watch prank videos, but I've definitely heard of people talk about some of the rougher pranks that are posted on YouTube. And I definitely agree with making steps to try and discourage and remove them.
My thoughts on this are basically, did this really need to be written down that it wasn't okay?
I can agree with that. At the same time, if you don't write it down on the internet, I feel like people say, "Oh, it's not strictly anywhere prohibited, so I can just go ahead and do this."
I mean, yeah, I get the mentality for it, but at the same time, it's the whole thing of, okay, let's bring up the Tide Pod challenge. Is Tide Pods shouldn't have needed to be labeled non-edible, for people to know, don't put this in your mouth.
I can completely agree. I would like to quote the Golden Bolt here and yell, "People are dumb."
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree. Um, so my way of thinking of it is, it's gonna sound a little bit morbid, but if someone, if I'm not saying if a child, I'm saying if, a grown adult or like a 16-year-old that is that is mentally able, doesn't have any form of mental disabilities, goes and willingly eats a Tide Pod, we're probably not losing the cure to brain cancer.
Wow. Well, on one hand, I completely see your point. On the other, I'd see why Google would not want to look like in any way, shape, or form that they encourage people to do stuff like the Tide Pod Challenge.
No, I get it from a business perspective. They're protecting themselves, their brand, and that. But again, I'm just sitting here from a logical perspective of, does it really have to be written out this cut and dry? This is okay. This is not okay. You can do this. Don't do this.
I feel like it shouldn't need to be written, but I feel like with a lot of things nowadays, although it isn't best for everyone, it's best to help weave out people potentially doing extremely stupid things like the Tide Pod Challenge.
Yeah, like, you were you familiar with the Mona Lisa Perez situation back in May?
No. Explain.
Basically, her and her, I believe it was her boyfriend or her fiance, I'm not sure what their relation was, wanted to do a YouTube video to prove that an encyclopedia could stop a Desert Eagle bullet. And do you know how they tested this?
They shot an encyclopedia and I imagine someone was holding it.
Yeah, the boyfriend was holding it and he got shot right in the gut. In front of their daughter. In public. And he died shortly later.
Was she charged?
Yes, I believe. I don't remember her exact charge, but I believe she was charged with some form of manslaughter. And child endangerment, I believe. I would need to look up the exact charges. But
I feel like the child endangerment was definitely a good charge. The manslaughter, I feel like stupid people get a stupid charge.
Yeah. Then the other one that comes to mind whenever it brings up the child trauma in particular is the Daddy of Five situation.
Yes, very good example.
Like everything that happened there. There's too much to even go into detail on that. On why everything that was with that was just wrong and not right. So it's 2018 was terrible for YouTube as a whole. I believe they started out 2018 with Logan Paul uploading the one video.
Did you see the latest Logan Paul drama?
I try to stay out of that as much as I can, but what is it?
He talked about, I forget the whole context of what's going on, but the big quote that came out of it, which was in context to some question he was asked, that he was going to go gay for, it was either a month or a few months, based on a question someone had said. That way he could get the experience of it. And of course, a comment like that got backlash from the LGBTQ community.
I mean, surprise, surprise, but...
Yes. And it just goes to show we're in 2019, and of course, Logan Paul has not learned his lesson.
It's at least better. It's progress, is all I'm gonna say. Might be a baby step, but it's progress compared to the beginning of the year.
Very true. It isn't as bad as what he's done in the past, but he's still doing bad acts.
Yeah, and then this particular article um specifically references that one person crashed while doing the Bird Box challenge. I think that happened
Yes.
in my state.
Oh boy.
Like
Are you
I'm
proud?
not kidding. No. People here already drive terribly. Like I mean, I'm cursing people going 15 under in perfectly clear weather with no, you know, nothing that, should be slowing them down. And I'm just like, no,
So, you
drive.
had a Bird Box challenge experience. Did you have a Kiki challenge experience?
I have no idea what that even is.
Oh my. It was a short trend based on a song, and you'd see people get out of their vehicles as it's still moving, just slowly moving, and they'd dance right outside of the vehicle.
Okay. Now what you're saying sounds familiar. Didn't know the name of it.
Yep.
But no, I never had that experience. And that was not as dumb, still dumb. But driving a car blindfolded is a new level right there.
I feel like if you record yourself driving impaired, which is what you're doing, you're driving impaired, risking everyone's life, regardless of if anyone's there when you first blindfold yourself, you should be charged with something.
I mean, absolutely. Interesting fact, in Twitch TOS, it's actually against like Twitch rules entirely to stream from a moving vehicle. It doesn't matter if you're driving or you're the passenger.
Because when you have an event like that going on, because they have, for Twitch TOS purposes, they have to assume if you're streaming in a vehicle, it's not guys, I have my phone held up behind the passenger seat. The driver can't see me. I'm in an Uber. This isn't the scenario they're going for. They're going for, there's a big deal about you streaming in a moving vehicle, and that can cause impaired driving.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter who's doing it. It could be the passenger, it could be, kid in the back seat, it could be the hostage they have in the trunk. Either way, they're streaming and they're impairing the driver in some way.
Yes. So I feel like it's definitely a very good thing to have something in the TOS discouraging that completely.
Yeah. And that kind of comes back to the beginning of what this entire topic was about. I understand why it's there. Does that mean I think it needs to be spelled out in black and white? No. But from a business perspective and a business view of it, I completely understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, I feel like that's what a lot of things boil down to. It's a business decision. It's not because if it was their choice specifically and they wouldn't get any backlash one way or the other, they probably wouldn't include most things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to that, they kind of have to if they don't want to be completely crapped on with any form of quote unquote legitimate reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, an accomplishment. Steam has reached a grand total of over 30,000 games. Now, I brought this topic not because I really care that they've reached 30,000 games, although congratulations, Steam. I wanted to know, what are some of your favorite Steam game experiences?
And some of my favorite Steam game experiences?
Yes, out of 30,000 games, clearly you've had to have played at least one.
I mean, let me open up my Steam library real quick. No, okay, all of my hours in Skyrim are logged in Steam. Between Legendary Edition and Special Edition, I have 300 plus hours logged, and I've only owned the game for pretty much about the time Special Edition's been out.
That is not as long as you'd think.
Yeah. But 30,000 games on Steam. One, that's impressive. Shout out to, the indie developers out there. because we know not all of those are AAAs.
Nope. What are you saying?
Um,
Assassin's Creed hasn't released 30,000 games by now? I thought they released monthly.
no, that's Bethesda releasing, half-built games. But no, it's like GTA 5, I have 67 hours in. CSGO that I picked up back in like November, December-ish. I've got 40 hours in, and I primarily only play that with friends. But it's like Steam has just become, this giant.
The Netflix of gaming.
Yeah, the Netflix of gaming. And what a lot of developers are starting to do that's starting to ruin the experience for gamers on PC is making their own launchers. One of the YouTube channels I watched, they actually covered this topic before, and they quoted me in it. And it's basically, I don't want 13 different launchers to play 13 different games.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want just one place to go to play my games. If it's like with the console, if I'm just playing a PS4 thing, I just want to do it on the PS4. I don't want to have to be like, oh, I have the Xbox One to play this game, I have the PS4 to play this game, I have these games on the Nintendo Switch and the whatever console, and then I have all these games on Steam. I'd like one place to go for the majority of my gaming experience. I don't want to have to be like, okay, let me go to the Epic Game Store, let me go to this launcher, let me do this. That's just more
absolutely.
pain than you want to go through.
Yeah, it'd be different if, it's say games like Minecraft that are just their own dedicated launcher. There's no extra stuff to it. It's just, here's the game, it's installed. But, I don't want to have, a launcher for Rockstar games, for Valve, for indie games, for Bethesda, EA, Activision, all of the AAA publishers. I don't want that. Right now on my computer, I have Blizzard, Epic, and Steam, and I only have Blizzard and Epic because every once in a while I have friends who want to play those games.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Like, and when friends want to play that game, it's like, do you really want to be stubborn and be like, well, I don't want the Blizzard thing? You just have to kind of put it on your computer for a while, play the game when they want to play it, and then you don't really use it. The only time you use it is because someone else wants to play a game with you.
Yeah, it basically becomes bloatware.
Yep.
So, and I kind of understand where developers are coming from. They don't want Steam taking their precious 6% or whatever it is Steam takes from them. They want the maximum amount of money they can get, and they think that running their own launchers worth saving these couple bucks that they're, not going to be getting from Steam, even though this many people aren't going to be playing the game. It comes back to the whole Netflix raising their prices situation. To a certain degree.
And I feel like my position on the Netflix versus competitor issue is about the same with Steam versus a competitor. I want to pretty much only go to Netflix if I want to go do a streaming service and watch TV shows. Maybe Hulu as a secondary, but Netflix is pretty much my number one. And I feel the exact same way with Steam. Maybe there could be Epic Games as a number 2 for some things if that ever becomes a viable option. But after that, like 1 and 2 is my max. Yeah, and I'd prefer 1.
Yeah, I hate having to hunt down a game launcher just to play one specific game. Like, honestly, if there's a game and it sounds so, so awesome and I need to play it, I want to stream it, I want to promote this game, but I have to go through, the extra hassle of installing this launcher that needs these drivers, then the game has this update, and that you're immediately turning me off from playing your game.
Exactly, and I just thought about something that it's the same topic, but kind of diverting it a little bit down the road. I feel like that's why you're gonna find it a little bit tough for YouTube and Twitch to have competitors in the video sharing category and the streaming category, because most people just want to go to one thing to absorb their content.
I mean that's absolutely true. Right now there are, in my opinion, three big media streaming services: YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. And I use big lightly when referring to Mixer. Now, I used
I
to
was
stream on
about to
Mixer.
say,
I used to stream on Mixer all the time. I loved the latency on it and everything. But Mixer's honestly just where the people who don't want to use Twitch go.
and I'm not sure that's the community you specifically want to go after. I mean, because really the majority of those people are content creators that don't want to compete with the big dogs.
Or some of them, something happened, with Twitch, whether it be something that was their fault directly, or Twitch just putting the blame on them, and so they
Very
can't
fair.
stream to Twitch. And people don't associate live streaming with YouTube at all. It's gotten
Streaming
better.
on YouTube is not ideal for a channel, is everything I've ever heard. Even when it comes to this podcast, I thought about, maybe one day I'll do a live version of it one day. But everything I've been told privately is if I wanted to do that, I should do it on Twitch and not YouTube, even if the podcast right now is strictly on YouTube.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. My honest opinion on it is, stream it to Twitch, profit on Twitch from it, wait the 24 hours you have to before uploading it to YouTube, and then flip it for more money.
Absolutely. You want to go whichever benefits you in the maximum capacity is definitely the direction you'd like to go in. And for me, I'll be honest, when it comes to podcasting, I had to have someone explain to me the benefits of why I would want to rush to put the podcast on other places. Because right now, to be blunt, I'm saving up money for a PC, so I do not have the funds to spend on my own to put the podcast elsewhere. So it's not really a concern I have right now. But down the road, on one hand, I had my brain saying, if I put the podcast elsewhere, then I'm going to lose views on YouTube. The growth on YouTube is going to slow down. But when you think about it on a bigger picture, it's beneficial because although you're losing views on the first platform, you're gaining it on the second, the third, and as those grow, your profit margin will increase.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And, that kind of does lead sort of into my transition period from Mixer back to Twitch, because on Mixer, I had 400 plus followers on it, right? I had a pretty decent sized community.
100%.
But, Mixer, at the time had 4 big games. And when I say 4 big games, I mean every other game had maybe 50 viewers max. And, that was the unfortunate thing about it. So, I take a look over at my Twitch numbers, and I'm like, okay, I'm 10 followers away from hitting 50 and almost meeting affiliate requirements. I'm just going to move to Twitch, start making profit on Twitch from it, albeit not a lot, but start making profit there, and then, use that in other ways to upload to YouTube later as well.
Yes. And I feel like doing stuff like that, for some people, it's like, you just care about the money. I feel like if you're a content creator that's really interested in making this your job because you really enjoy it, it's okay to think about the money and to be open about you are looking to make these decisions because you think that is what's going to help you down the road. for me, personally, I went from high school to, and then I started releasing videos on YouTube after I graduated. And for me, like this, I graduated in 2016, we're in 2019. I consider the first 4 years, it's just like if I went to college for 4 years, this is just me going to college. I'm working stuff out, I'm building stuff, I'm working on making a career through education in a different way.
Mm-hmm. And see, my thing isn't even so much I went to Twitch solely for the money. It's I don't want to sit here and be wasting my time, streaming 3 hours minimum a day, making nothing, when I could at least, get something out of it.
Yes.
Because then it
And
feels
I don't
like
think that's
less
wrong.
of a waste.
Yeah, and I don't think that's wrong at all. I feel like you should be rewarded for your time, and it doesn't have to necessarily be through monetizational means, but everyone wants to feel like what they're doing matters in a way, in just some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely can see why you made the move, and I feel like when you brought up Mixer at the beginning as one of the three, I'm just like, I feel like for streaming, you definitely want to go to Twitch.
I mean, like I said, I use Mixer lightly, and I was friends with people on Mixer who were partners. They were making decent money, but they weren't making enough to live off of. I specifically sat down with one of them and went through the finances, and I told him, this is how many more subs and donations you need to get per day in order for you to not be working another job.
And I bet that was very overwhelming for them.
I mean, they thought they could do it, and last I checked in on them, because I still go and check, see how everyone's doing, and see if I made the right decision, because you never know in a business like this.
See, I feel like it's hard to know if you made the right decision, because you don't know if you would have stayed if you would have kept growing. Could you have went stagnant at some point?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I always go back and check. It's, okay, did I make the right decision? If the answer is no, how can I learn from this? If the answer is yes, great, I'm already in a better place than I would have been otherwise.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's the smart way to look at it.
So, yeah, just... And I know this all started out from talking about, Steam having 30,000 games. But, it's like Steam as a business, they're doing what they need to do, to get their profit margins. And same with all the indie developers out there.
Wait a second. I just realized something. Steam hit 30,000 games. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Portal 3 confirmed as well.
Left 4 Dead 3.
Does you mean that Left 5 Dead 3?
Yes. Man, Half-Life 3 jokes will never get old.
Nah, they won't.
What if Valve stops letting us do Half-Life 3 games, though? What if they actually released it?
Then we've been bamboozled.
Would we believe them if they teased that they were going to do Half-Life 3? Would we believe them at this point?
Unless they dropped it the day they teased it, absolutely not. In today's social media marketing, I see anything online that can be remotely taken as a joke, and I'm like, they're just trying to get marketing out of that.
Do you think Half-Life 3 would be a profitable game?
I mean, probably. Let's just be honest. Half-Life is still, one of the biggest talked about franchises out there in terms of gaming. One of the YouTubers actually hit it big off of a Half-Life 2 video. So, yeah.
Which one is this?
I like to call him Leafy, but I know that's not his name.
Leanify?
Leanify, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leanify hit big off a Half-Life video, you know? So, absolutely, Half-Life 3 dropped, and, it's a good game. Even if it's not a good game, they make bank off of it.
The hype alone will make it a profitable game, I think.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it only be right in the world if Half-Life 3 became the most profitable game of all time if they released it?
I mean, I think so. I think Half-Life 3 would be profitable if it was just Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 just smashed together. It was just a seamless transition.
Half-Life 3, the remaster.
Yeah. I think they'd make bank off of basically pulling a Kingdom Hearts, releasing the same game over and over again.
I've never played Kingdom Hearts. I want to soon.
I played like the first one, but that's about it. And I just know the meme is they keep releasing the first game over and over again, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 is just going to be the exact same thing.
Probably. But I mean, if the formula works and people buy it, I mean...
So what Todd Howard's
doing
with
Just do it until
Skyrim.
people are sick of it.
Yeah, Todd Howard's been doing it with Skyrim since 2011.
Yep. I mean, Assassin's Creed, people really enjoyed it, so they did it yearly, and then when people... It took a while. I'll put that disclaimer. It took a while, but once people bitched about it being yearly enough, they stopped doing it yearly, and they're waiting a little bit longer and building it up more. And now Assassin's Creed is back on the right track.
And then people started complaining about it not being yearly.
You can't please everyone.
Okay, my favorite quote: "You can't please everyone, but can sure as hell piss everyone off."
Yes.
So, that's what I aim for. I don't aim to please. I aim to hopefully upset somebody. If I'm not upsetting someone, I'm not doing a good job.
So the next two topics I have, both are Bethesda related. The first topic, Bethesda, their Fallout 76 game, of course. Have you played it?
No. No.
Okay. Well, I haven't either. So, very knowledgeable on the inner workings of Fallout. But every Bethesda title, when it comes to a Fallout 4, a Skyrim, Oblivion, etc., they have the developer room that if you're on the PC, you can find your way into. Obviously, for a single-player game, this isn't a big deal. It can ruin your experience if you begin the game and then you immediately go in the developer room and you get all the items you want. I feel like that could ruin your experience. But for a multiplayer experience, and I feel a key difference that people aren't seeing is if you find a way into the developer room, which they have made harder and harder, and you get items that aren't even released yet, and you use them in a multiplayer scenario, you are cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't like it's as easy as it is in a single player situation to get in those rooms. And once they figured out, apparently a Discord server had figured this out first, and they kept it quiet for a good bit of time. And then it came out on Reddit, and it got bigger and bigger, and more people were getting into the developer room, so they had to put more protections on it and have a block or a ban type thing when you enter the room, and that would get processed and you'd get banned for it. And the thing is, like, it isn't just a simple, type in #12Q whatever that you would on a normal game. You have to go through means that could be considered hacking, even if it's just a little bit, in order to get into that room. So you are hacking and cheating to get an advantage over players and just AI in general. And people, they're on the fence on this, on whether it should be considered cheating. And if anything, my initial reaction before I thought about it being cheating was, well, those people shouldn't be able to complain when they release those future items for money.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through nefarious means to get those items early and you want to complain when it's eventually locked down under a pay thing, you should still pay for that. I don't think you can really complain on that end. But with a multiplayer experience like Fallout 76, it definitely is more cheating in ways than would be allowed. So they've tried to crack down on it. They're working on it. How do you feel about this? Do you kind of feel about the same as me, or do you differ?
Okay, so yeah. So, two completely different game genre types whenever it comes to Pokemon versus Fallout 76 with how they run in the multiplayer experience. So, yeah, I do have to say that the way they're going about it is definitely cheating, especially since it's giving them a direct advantage over other players. But in terms of like Bethesda, because I can only assume Bethesda's getting really upset about them discovering all of this, supposed to be hidden content, right?
Uh, See, I don't know if they'd really be upset. Like, everyone knows you're gonna have this room. Like, you've had it in the past Fallout games and Elder Scrolls games. Like, I don't think it's a secret that you have the room. I think they would be more upset that they didn't protect it well enough.
Yeah. But let's just say Bethesda gets upset about the Uber power armor, whatever they're wanting to call it, right? The thing that they're wanting to have as the paid content that's coming out in future updates, but they didn't want people knowing about it just yet. It brings up kind of one of my favorite topics with video games of, if you don't want people to find it, don't have it in the public code.
That's pretty fair.
Because, I 100% agree with using developer rooms. Easy way to, forget to clean something up and it not matter. Skyrim developer rooms are full of, junk, that they used and then just forgot to erase. But in something like this, that would have been as simple as, Control C, Control V. You have 2 copies of the game, and then you just go on the other one and you go into the one that's going to be released to the public, and you delete the developer room.
Now, I didn't watch any videos on this, so I'm not 100% sure, but my theory, which doesn't cover the whole thing, but like the one NPC in the game is inside the developer room, so I have to assume anytime he talks, he would be talking in the room. They just have it to where everyone can hear and see or whatever. So I feel like that's why the developer room is still in the game. I could be completely off base here. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't played nor watched this developer room. I just seen pictures. But seeing that the NPC was there, I only have to assume that's why the developer room was kept in, because they didn't put the NPC in any specific location inside the game.
I mean, even then it does come back to, what I was saying. Of, in Skyrim, they have a specific room where all of the dead bodies teleport to before they despawn, So you have this room just full of dead bodies for a little bit. That's nothing else. It's, just a couple corridors and, no items, no nothing in it. So that would have been a perfect place to have a developer room for a hidden NPC that, would in theory do nothing other than be there for whatever purpose it was supposed to be there for.
Well, I also assume when they were testing weapons and such, they were tested on that NPC.
Absolutely.
That NPC was abused. I feel like we should have a new controversy on Bethesda for abusing NPCs.
Absolutely. Let's not bring my Skyrim playthroughs into this at all.
No. Don't point at the fact that I am a great person in Skyrim. I always adopt that girl in Whiterun, and anytime she asks for money, I give her the maximum I can.
Sounds about right.
I don't like children. I really don't. In real life, I don't like children. But for some reason, the voice actor and just how they portray the child in Whiterun, I don't know, it just bypasses. And I feel... have money, have 1,000. That's like nothing that I have.
Yeah. Like I said, multiplayer standpoint, definitely cheating. Bethesda, just being lazy again. Big surprise with Fallout 76. They can't get mad at people for finding it. Data miners do this all the time.
So, what you're saying, and this is not what you're saying at all, this is just me making an extreme reach, because that's what people do. So what you're saying is, the data miners for Fallout 76 are just as bad people as Facebook are.
I mean, what'd Facebook do this time?
I mean, what doesn't Facebook do? They sell your information. Facebook is probably listening to us right now.
Fair. Okay, but if we're going to be that black and white with the situation, yeah. But at the same time, so if we're going to be comparing the situation to Facebook, right, with data miners being Facebook and Bethesda being the users, if Bethesda, it comes back to it, if Bethesda didn't want this information out there, don't put it on the internet.
Yep.
My real name is out there on the internet, but where my real name is not associated with my brand at all, except in one place, and you have to dig to find it.
I know who you are, Bart.
No, I'm a chemistry teacher who's been helping one of my old students make meth.
Okay, so when Fallout Shelter released, shortly after, the same developer released Westworld Mobile, which is pretty much a clone of Fallout Shelter, just in the Westworld environment. So, of course, this caused a lawsuit between Bethesda and Warner Bros. And last week we talked about, with the Golden Bolt, that the case was settled. It's a done issue. It can't go back to court. They settled it, but we didn't know how they settled it until today. Literally, in the past 24 hours of recording this, we got a tweet from the Westworld people. We hope you have enjoyed playing Westworld. We are sorry to tell you the park is entering a new phase and will no longer be taking applications for new employees. The game will be removed from the App Store and Google Play on January 15th, 2019, and officially closed on April 16th, 2019. As of today, you will no longer be able to make in-game purchases. If you have any in-game currency, remember to use it before the game goes offline on April 16th. We are sorry to see the Westworld mobile game go, and had an incredible time creating new content and events for players to enjoy. We deeply appreciate our community's enthusiasm and participation in the game. We're thankful for all who have supported Westworld and hope the remaining time with the game will be entertaining. So it appears Bethesda won the lawsuit.
I mean, if it's an exact clone of the game, because I know nothing about mobile games for the most part. I don't play mobile games. I don't keep up with mobile games.
Same.
But from what it's sounding like, this is sounding like the 2018/2019 version of 2016. 2014? I'm going to say 2014. 2014's Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird was an awful game. I still have it on one of my phones. And yeah. Pretty much
sell that for a shit ton of money.
I should. But it's like Bethesda brought on these people to make Fallout Shelter, and those same people use the exact same thing to make the Westworld game.
Yeah, it's blatant copyright infringement, and that might be the wrong wording for it.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I feel like most people will understand what I mean by it being that way. Like I said, I brought up Flappy Bird for a good reason. Flappy Bird used direct copies of Nintendo assets, and Nintendo found out. They went after him. He stopped. As far as I remember, he didn't let it go to court.
No.
And that's because he knew he'd lose. I think Warner Bros. Thought they might be able to win since they developed the game, but just because they developed the game doesn't mean that they own the rights to it.
Yeah, when it came to when I first read about this lawsuit, I thought it was a slam dunk case for Bethesda, and last week I was kind of worried that it wasn't the slam dunk I thought it would be. But now that we know Westworld is shutting down their game and it's being removed from the App Store in the coming months, it definitely looked like Bethesda got their win. They didn't
So
lose on this scenario.
yeah, so with that, it's kind of like this podcast. For example, I'm helping you make this podcast, right? I'm helping you develop it. But ultimately, you're still the owner of this podcast. I can't take this podcast, change it up a little differently, maybe move things around, repitch voices or something, or
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fox Says, a podcast where fuck you guys, I fucking hate you all.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't do that, because you still ultimately own the rights to this podcast.
Yes.
So that's where I stand on it. It kind of reminds me of a situation that came up a few years ago, but instead it was the outcome I would expect instead of the outcome that happened. I don't know if you followed Salt Lake Comic-Con versus San Diego Comic-Con at all.
No.
Okay, so basically San Diego Comic-Con sued Salt Lake Comic-Con for using the term Comic-Con.
Okay,
and yeah, this was about a 3-year legal journey, and I 100% thought Salt Lake would win the case, because how can you own the term Comic-Con, right? It's like,
that's what I would think.
Yeah, it's like Fine Bros trying to copyright the word React.
You just said React? I'm gonna get demonetized now. Thanks a lot, asshole.
React.
No!
But no, that's what I mean. Is I thought it was going to be an open and shut case like that. No, it was a 3-year battle that San Diego ultimately won.
How?
I don't know. I don't know how San Diego won the rights to own the words Comic-Con, but they did. Man, and I know there's still a Comic-Cons operating out there that aren't San Diego. It's just San Diego doesn't care about any of them. They just cared about shutting down the Salt Lake one.
Which I don't agree with that. Like, if you're gonna cut someone down, cut everyone down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what does it really mean that you own it if you're just gonna be like, well, these people do it and I'm gonna ignore that, but this person doesn't and I don't like that. I'm gonna chop them down. No, I feel like this is one of those scenarios you can either have your cake or you can not have your cake.
Yeah. See, it brings up a different thing. Don't be a YouTube where you only punish certain people. Be a Nintendo where you punish everybody.
Yes. Punish everyone even if they're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
You have to teach them, no, you only do things the Nintendo way. Yeah.
So no, it kind of brought that up for me as well. But like I said, if you would have come to me with this topic and it would have been Westworld 1, Westworld is getting a second game, they're continuing to operate, I would have 100% been surprised.
Yeah, I just feel like, as we both agree on, it was a slam dunk situation and the right outcome happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I have one more topic, and this one I got during the time between wait-ins, so I was not able to disclose this topic to you, but I don't think you're going to disapprove. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Students can now use medical marijuana inside Oklahoma City public schools if it's prescribed by a doctor. Now, before I go into the details of this, based off just that, how do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I see no issue.
I agree. So, going into more detail. We really want to try to minimize the amount of time that a student is out of the classroom, is what they started this off with. Students will only be able to use the medical marijuana in a private room. It can only be brought in by a parent or guardian who is also a licensed caregiver. Those caregivers can only bring smokeless marijuana like oils, edibles, or pills. They can only bring enough for one use. Do you think there's anything unreasonable about that in a non-fuck school manner?
I mean, I understand it to a certain degree, from a school, right? Where it has to be done underneath all of these pretenses, right?
Yes.
But, because here's an example. When I was in school, I had really bad migraines and really bad back issues, and I still do to this day. So what my mom needed to do is I either had to illegally carry, ibuprofen with me at school, or she had to go in, take a sealed bottle of ibuprofen to the front office, tell them this is how many, to give me if I come in and ask, this is how many to give me per day/week, and don't do any more. But that's just because that's what the school had to do to protect themselves.
Yes.
So,
Now,
I 100% agree with it being smokeless. That makes sense. How they're having it, treated where it has to be a parent or guardian that's licensed for it, understand to a degree, but I think that's still a little extreme.
I feel like one of my big issues was this is we started it off with me reading that they didn't want to remove children from the classroom as long as possible. So are we really worried that people that would need it, and that's the scenario, parents would be bringing it and you could just go quickly and get it, would it really be an issue that you have to be in a private room to take it?
The private room does bring up, the private room becomes counterintuitive,
Yes.
Because they're having to be outside of the room. Are they having to be outside of the classroom up until the, the high wears off, assuming it's, THC and not CBD, or, just whatever? How long is them being in that private room going to take them out of the classroom? And does that really affect anything in the long term?
Can I understand, like, you want them to be in a private room so they don't have the pill or edible or whatever on them, so they can give to someone else. But at the same time, if you only are allowed to have enough for one use, which is what it is, I don't think you need a private room.
How I see it is it should just be as something as simple as being able to take a bathroom break.
Yes.
Something as simple as you shoot a text to your parent goes down to the front office, they call you down, your parent gives it to you, you take it right then and there, and then you're back to class. It's a 5-minute process.
Or if you want to treat it like a bathroom break, you walk as slow as possible to the bathroom, you take your sweet time, you text on your phone a little bit, making sure no teacher's watching or anyone comes in.
Or if you're like my old school librarian I used to TA for, I could do whatever I wanted, but if administration came looking for me, as far as she knew, I was at the bathroom.
Ha ha ha. Very good.
That was 100% our agreement. Was I came in, I did what she asked me to do, because what she asked me to do took like 5 minutes. Basically, putting books away, changing the desktop banners, because, people at school think they're so cool knowing how to change the wallpaper.
Doing the small shit that's a pain in the ass for the librarian.
Yeah, just getting all of that done. And then I could go home for an hour if I wanted. I could go to lunch, I could do whatever I wanted. But if administration came looking for me, all she knew is I was in the bathroom.
Wait, would that really work? Could you leave your school building?
Yeah, we were able to get off campus all the time.
What state are you in?
Utah.
Man, in Tennessee, that shit would not fly. You can't leave the building.
Wow. No, here we have like off-campus lunch. So, during your hour lunch period, you can legitimately go to McDonald's, get food, and come back.
fuck, I wish you could have done that. I would have brought money to school every day. There was a Taco Bell within eyesight of the lunchroom. And
Yeah.
every day I'm like, well, if I don't want the school lunch, I'd rather just go buy 2 cheesy gordita crunches from Taco Bell and eat that.
And it'd be the same price with how expensive school lunch is.
Exactly. The schools Tennessee wise, because I went to multiple schools in Tennessee and they were all the same. Once Michelle Obama made it to where you can't have actual sodas in the school machines and the rules changed to where you can't have soda. Water bottle life, baby.
My school never followed that, like, at all. The only things that changed were the vending machines that had like candy in that. They got rid of what was called the a la carte. Did you guys have anything like that at your schools?
We had versions of that. We didn't.
Okay, but you know what it is at least.
Yes.
But no, the soda machines, were broken, and I could get potentially 2 cans of Mountain Dew because one of them in particular would dispense 2 for $1.
That would be the life.
It was amazing, honestly. Whenever
For me,
it happened.
Sophomore year was good. Junior and senior year was when they really cracked down on this. So, and by the way, like sophomore year, they sold bottles of Dr. Pepper and all that. Man, I bought multiple every day. They made bank on my ass.
I don't doubt it.
And so, like, once I had to bring cans home or bring cans from home to school to put in water bottles, like, the teachers were well aware of this technique. And I made new teachers so nervous on the first day. And they're like, you better not spill that. And I'm like, listen, I've been doing this for 2 years now. I got this. I never once spilled that shit.
See, the only thing I spilled, and I think it's funny, because I'm not the only person who I know who has had this issue.
Oh?
So, at my desk, okay, I can have like 3 open cans of Dr. Pepper, couple other open containers of various liquids and that, right?
Yes.
No issues. Nothing spills.
But
I have 1 glass of milk on my desk for 5 minutes, and it spills.
that glass lid, boy.
Like, this has happened to me 3 times, almost destroyed my laptop, destroyed my roommate's keyboard, and almost killed my cousin's $1,500 computer.
They would have been pissed.
Yeah, this milk curse, I swear to God.
Were you ever the one that ate lunch in high school, the school lunch?
I only got pizza because they served slices of pizza.
I never ate school lunch. I always went the whole day, and I had a lunch box for my Dr. Pepper because it kept it cold. I was that kind of person.
So the kind of person I was given a locker that I never used. And I specifically got my locker in the coldest hallway in the school.
Ooh. They let you pick which locker you wanted?
No, they let me pick what hall it was in, though. So,
we didn't get that luxury.
Basically, with how our school was, they would just the locker officer person would just ask us, hey, which doors are you coming in through the most, right? And since I walked/rode my bike to school, I was always coming in from like the the north entrance, right? So they're like, hey, we'll put your do you want your locker in the drama hallway? I'm like, yeah, that works absolutely perfect. Because I knew that was the coldest room because the band room was right next to it and they always had their door open. So the hallway was just always freezing. Yep.
See, for me, we never got to pick which locker area we wanted, which I thought was lockers are inconvenient. Like, because they always like, okay, you have this long to go from this class to another. Well, if you're going from one side of the school to the next, you have to make time to go to your locker, and that's not. And teacher will act like, oh, well, you should have did it before the class before it. Well, I don't know if teachers realize this or not. I know they do, but things don't always go to plan.
I mean, I legitimately just got to a point where I had 2 piles for my schoolwork. I had my A day and my B day piles, and I would just swap them out of my bag.
Makes sense.
And I would just carry that bag all day. You know, granted, we didn't have textbooks or anything we had to carry because education in Utah is wonderful.
It sounds like I'd rather trade.
Okay, so I've told the story before, and I know we've gotten off topic again, but I expect that from any conversation I get into.
I appreciate story time.
I graduated high school with 30 minutes left of the entire year. I had 30 minutes to finish my last class and pass. Otherwise, I would not be able to graduate.
How did that work?
Well, so how it worked is I was working a job at Walmart at the time, working almost full time. You know, basically the maximum amount of part-time hours I could work. And what ended up happening is that my counselor told me I had like 2 or 3 credits to make up, and I had like 10. And then she told me until May 2nd to do it instead of May 28th. Or not May 20th, like May 20th or something like that. So I was staying up. I was waking up at 7 a.m., going to school until 3:30, going to work at 5, getting back home at 10, and staying up till 5:30 a.m. doing schoolwork.
Uh-huh.
Every day. But what ended up happening...
I have a flaw in your game.
What?
As a student, I didn't believe in homework. I feel like this was a flaw in your game.
I mean, neither did I. Never did homework. The only reason I was doing work at home is because it was on the computer and I had 2 monitors, so I could have it up on one, not be listening to it, and be playing Minecraft on the other.
Did you not have a credit? I assume you didn't have a credit recovery type class.
Oh no, that's exactly what it was.
I got my credit recovery class shut down.
Good job.
You want to hear that story?
Absolutely.
So, I lived in a different county at the time, and I moved halfway through the year. And this occurred a problem. The way that one county's went, I was not in a position where if I would have went through with the second county's class layout, I would not have gotten all the credits I needed to graduate under their system. So I had to be in a credit recovery class, and Miss Birdsong, the credit recovery teacher, love her to death. She was a great teacher, great person. We got along really well. Because credit recovery was full of 80% of delinquents, people that just simply failed a class. And then you had the other 20%, which was me and a couple other people that were in this weird situation of moving and that thing not really working out. So we had the classes I needed to make up. We discussed which classes I'd like to do credit recovery in. It was like Spanish and a gym. I did a gym one in credit recovery. I thought that was funny. And what happened was I finished super early because it was a whole semester in credit recovery. So I'm like, I have these credits remaining. I don't really want to take an art class. Can you work it out with the office to let me take an art, quote unquote, credit recovery thing in here and get the credit now? And she was like, I can ask. And so I did that for multiple classes. And I just got out of shit.
Sounds about right.
I abused the system. I found a loophole in the system, manipulated it, bypassed classes I didn't want to take that they would let me take in credit recovery. And then the next year, the class got canceled and she moved to a different school. Sorry.
So I did a similar thing my junior year.
Uh-huh.
My junior year math teacher, because we only had to take 3 years of math, which was great.
Lucky.
Okay. So my junior year math teacher had this policy where, regardless of if we knew what the topic was on, if we came to class, basically showed up, told them we were here, and then said we wanted to go work on the assignment in the library, which I've already told you I have a connection in the library with the librarian.
Yes.
That we could grab the assignment from him, he'd mark us as there, and we could leave. And I did this every single day. Never showed up to class. And then on the last day, I go up to him and I'm like, "Hey, I noticed you haven't put any of my assignments in. What's going on with that?" And he's like, "Did you turn your assignments in to me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I came by the other day and you weren't here, so I just set them on your desk, and I thought that'd be good enough." And he's just like, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do in the situation," because it was his first year teaching at that school.
Ooh.
And he's just like, "Well, since I don't want to make you have to redo all of these, since it was literally the last day of the term, how about I just write a credit adjustment, give you a passing grade, and we call it good." I'm like, "Yeah, that's totally fine with me, as long as, I get the credit." Like, "Hey, that works." He filled out the paper, signed it, and I took it to the office. So I passed the class with a D-,
Fair.
still passing. And the entire time I was talking with him, I had the assignments in my bag, blank.
See, I appreciate manipulating the system and manipulating, because when you're in high school, they make you do a lot of stupid bullshit. So if you can get back at them and manipulate the system a little bit, I think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. No, see, I do think there's a possibility he knew I was bullshitting with him, right?
Most likely.
But at the same time, he obviously didn't care enough.
It was also his first year. He didn't need to look bad.
Yeah. So it was his first and only year at that school.
Oh.
But no, it's basically, he's like, "Hey, he probably knew, like I said, from the start that I was bullshitting him. But he's just sitting there like, "Hey, yeah, if you're fine with a passing grade, I'll give you a passing grade." I'm like, "That's all I've been fine with the entire time I've been at this school."
Yeah, my parents and I agreed. I'm not an A+ student. I don't believe in homework. Those sick days you get before you get in trouble? I took all of those as vacation days. Every time, anytime they updated, I used them. I would use them whenever it was most beneficial to me. I passed. I always passed with at least a C. I think there was one time I got a D, and that was in Spanish, but who the fuck cares? It's fucking Spanish.
Yeah.
So I was never gonna go to college. We all knew that wasn't my path. I've been wanting to do YouTube since I was like 10. So it's always worked out like this. And for me, I just did what the minimum I had to. Didn't do most of the homework assignments. If I had to do some to pass, I would get my smart friend and be like, "Hey, can I see your assignment on this, this, and this?" And I just copy them and then just turn it in.
Yeah, pretty much. I know I bullshitted my way through high school so much. Any time we had to read something in English, I never did it. I flat out told one of the teachers I never read it, and she legitimately had a look of shock on her face because she passed me on every test, every assignment with flying colors. And I flat out told her, I never once said an original thought. I just reworded what everyone else said before me to sound like an original thought.
I think that is smart enough that you should get passed with flying colors. That is innovative. Nobody else was doing that. You were the smartest one in that room.
Kate, it's simple. I'm lazy, but that means I'm efficient.
Exactly.
I'm going to find the path of least resistance. You know, if, you're telling me to get this, this job done, this job done, this job done, and this job done, and I can get 3 of them done doing the exact same thing, I'm going to do that one thing to get all 3 done instead of 4 different things to get all 4 projects done.
I feel like an area in which I excelled at was presenting. When we had to present something, if it was ever a group project, my whole thing was, I'll present this and I'll put in a little bit of work, but y'all can do the majority of work and I'll present it because I know y'all fucking pussies don't want to do it.
Yeah. That reminds me of when I was a sophomore in high school. My English teacher, and I love this English teacher, right? Because like she understood when stuff was just busy work and that was useless.
Yes.
So legitimately what ended up happening is, me and a group of 3 other students were having to make a video presentation on certain aspects of the book, The Golden Compass. None of us read it. Anything I remembered about the movie, I was quoting, or not in the movie, on the book, I was quoting from a movie I hadn't seen in 7 years. And I'm just going with the flow on it. And, as our presentation's going on, I'm sitting by the teacher's desk and I see her write notes on 2 of the kids in my group that said probably didn't read it. And I wasn't one of them. And I'm just sitting there like, I know I didn't read it. So
confidence is key.
Absolutely.
If you can bullshit your way through it, then you can get a good grade.
Yeah. So, okay, whenever you're trying to get away with something, and if anyone here takes anything away from this podcast, act like you belong.
Yes.
If you just act like you belong, people will believe it.
What I did in a presentation where I didn't do the assignment, but I knew enough about it, like I knew the bare minimum to go by. You know what I did? I catered to my audience. I didn't give a fuck what the teacher thought. I made sure the classroom enjoyed the presentation, because if the whole class is on my side, how bad of a grade are you really going to give me?
Pretty much.
That was a very successful method. One time when I just didn't care to do the assignment in class, I'd just rather play games on the computer.
Yeah, it's play the audience, not the puppet master.
Yep.
Which, it's high school. It's easy to manipulate teenagers, especially when you are a teenager.
Yes. And it's not hard to make teenagers laugh.
Yeah.
Whether it's with you, at you, or just because the presentation wasn't what they thought it would be, because it wasn't serious at all.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting what you can pull off whenever you're trying it.
Oh, when I was young, this is a young school story. This is like middle school.
Okay.
And I stopped doing this in high school. Like, this was just middle school, me being a dumbass. My whole character, quote unquote character, was I would persuade each teacher to give me a Dr. Pepper in class. Because this was before you weren't old enough to buy them in a vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
So my method was, okay, I'm going to get them to give it to me. More successful than you'd think.
Do you know what my strategy was?
What?
Just TA for some teachers and hope they send you to the teacher's lounge and let you buy a drink too.
True. And see, for one class, Mr. Freeze, he was a social studies teacher. He was confident he would never budge on this. But I'm like, you know what? You say that on week 1. We have a whole fucking year.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept bringing up this opportunity. I did this successfully. I feel like that warrants a Dr. Pepper. And I do this special thing for him. I do this thing. I do this thing. And eventually, 3/4 of the year, keep in mind the other students were tired of fucking hearing it. But I didn't care. I was a middle schooler. I didn't give a crap. I was determined. He said he would never budge. I was confident I could make him budge. 3/4 of the year, he budged. And then I never brought it up again. I was happy with my victory.
Hey, that's what most people don't realize. Be happy with what you do. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Exactly, it wasn't like, oh, I got one Dr. Pepper. Hey, you want to give me another Dr. Pepper? No, I cut it. Once I achieved the goal, I cut it.
You just wanted the one.
Yeah. I was just confident I could achieve this. And I did. It just took more time than it did with everyone else because they wanted to be stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually, you get tired of hearing it. And eventually, you know you can't send me to the office for it because I never pushed it at an inappropriate time. Most of it was comedic effect. Now, did it stop being funny at a certain point? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you can send me to the office for a non-inappropriate joke.
Exactly.
I did nothing wrong. I stuck with my gun, and I successfully accomplished the goal. And I was pretty happy with myself.
Oh, but that's how you definitely play the system. Persistence.
Absolutely, and like it wasn't like I never didn't have a Dr. Pepper. I was just confident that I could get another one.
Yeah.
And he brought me a glass bottle too. It wasn't even a plastic one from the teacher's lounge. He went out of his way to bring me a glass bottle.
Ooh, that's really nice right there.
Exactly. Plastic bottles of Dr. Pepper are wonderful, but a glass bottle that's nice and cold, oh man.
Glass bottles of soda just taste so much better.
They
it doesn't matter what it is. Like, okay.
Perfection.
Okay, my least favorite way of drinking Dr. Pepper is actually out of a can directly.
Agreed.
I'll drink canned Dr. Pepper, but I have to put it in a glass first.
I don't like putting it in most glasses you could find at a Walmart. Most of them don't taste good. Just cups in general. Most cups bought from like a Walmart or a Walmart type place, they don't really make Dr. Pepper roar like it can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like even if it like one of those plastic red cups, those are good for Dr. Pepper. Those work. But
no,
most cups do not work.
No, the main way I drink my Dr. Pepper is either out of a bottle because I work just literally down the strip mall from a dollar store, or I'll drink one of the cans in my Powered by Twitch cup.
Sell out.
Absolutely.
I switch it up sometimes. Like if I want 2 cans worth, I'll get one of my wrestling souvenir cups and I'll use that because that tastes good with it. I always appreciate when it can hold more than one.
Oh,
and if it'll keep it cold long enough, that's what you want if you're going to do something for a long period of time.
Okay, so whenever you go to McDonald's or any fast food restaurant, ice or no ice?
No ice. Ice with soda is awful.
Okay, whenever I pour my own glass of Dr. Pepper, the only reason there's ice in it is because it's room temperature. And I don't want it at room temperature.
I have a solution to that.
The freezer?
No. Although I have frozen Dr. Peppers before. It had a half frozen slushy type Dr. Pepper. That's good on occasion. But you can go to Walmart or a place like that and get one of those plastic ice cubes that has water in it and freeze those and put those in it.
Yeah. Or get an ice tray, freeze Dr. Pepper.
Good idea. Good idea.
Ice cubes. Or I live in Utah. It's been blizzarding all day. I'm about to go get my roommate from work. I'm just going to throw one in the snow.
Yeah, pretty much. And a snowy, refreshing Dr. Pepper.
Exactly.
Multiple ways. And like on occasion, I'll be like, okay, let me freeze this Dr. Pepper, not because I want it, because it's room temperature, just because, you know, sometimes you want something a little bit different, but you still want the Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll do like, what are they called? The Dr. Pepper shakes, where you put ice cream and stuff in it.
Yeah.
That's definitely the way you want to go.
Oh, yeah.
So, what were you going to say?
Oh, I had nothing more to add to that.
Well, I feel like this is the perfect place to leave off. I organically asked you the Disney Plus question. Normally, I have to force it in, but this week I nailed it when we were talking about it. I slipped it right in there, and we covered that. No problem. So please tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at twitch.tv/GrayKitsune. But that's GRAY, not EY. I'm not British. KATSUN3 because the other guy took it first.
Boo!
I'm working on it.
Sue him.
I'm working on it.
Good, good.
I'm not saying what I'm doing, but I'm working on it.
Wait, I have a solution.
Yes.
What is Utah's position on corporal punishment?
Do you mean like death penalty?
We don't have to go that far, but
because I'm like, that just happened last week.
Okay, then okay, go the corporal punishment route and beat him into submission.
I like this.
And make sure to be like, sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Bam, bam, bam. I now have my Brandon.
I tried to get a Dr. Pepper sponsorship, but they hate Utah.
Like, I want to get a Dr. Pepper sponsorship. You know what I hate about Dr. Pepper? I fucking hate that the only thing they give a shit about is fucking football. Fuck football.
Yeah.
Their Twitter sucks. I wish it was better.
Let's just put our faces on the cans. That'll make it infinitely better.
Yes. One day I will be sponsored by Dr. Pepper. This is a life goal. This is something I will accomplish somehow. One day, whether it's through this podcast, whether it's through live streaming on Twitch, which will hopefully happen by the end of this year, one day before I die, I will be sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
Good goal.
If I don't, I'm going to burn the whole world down.
Take it out with you.
And by world, I mean Westworld Mobile, which is going away in April.
So you only have till April?
Yeah, this was not a very well thought out plan.
That's okay. Most of the best aren't.
Anyway, you'll be able to find his links down below. I'll probably link any other social media links he may or may not want me to link. Speaking of, I gained a new Twitter follower. I wonder who that could have been from.
I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder. I hope you enjoyed this episode, everyone. Please make sure you leave a like, comment, and make sure to share it. Sharing is very important for the growth of this podcast. I know some podcasts will go on for like 2 minutes on that, but just know it's important to share, whether it's my podcast or someone else's. It's important to share so it can grow. Yes, sharing is caring. Just get consent first. Anyway, guys, next week we'll see what guests we have. Peace out, people.
Goodbye.